Hi there, welcome to a show where I talk about overlooked stuff, where people with nothing better to do might enjoy. Today's topic, Sett support. When you think of bruisers in League of Legends, Sett usually comes to mind. A low mobility and tanky character with high damage, it's no surprise he's a top lane staple, not to mention all the JOJO memes. And just like in all the other off-meta support ideas, throwing a top lane bruiser like Sett into the support role usually works really well. And by really well, I mean that Sett support can beat up ADCs at level 2 while only building tank items should tell you how much of a beast this guy is. By rushing a very funny item known as Winged Moonplate, Sett can catch squishies while tanking all the damage. His entire kit is designed to hold someone in place long enough to beat the shit out of them, which is a very agreeable strategy for your AD carries. Factor in PTA and Bloodsong, and Sett becomes a deadly threat up close, especially when he lands his W. And speaking of his W, it is insane that Sett gets a big shield while beating someone's face in because it allows for some absolutely unfair trades. You run up, punch them, and when they punch back, you get to say nuh-uh and punch back even harder, which is the perfect setup against tank supports like Leona or unsuspecting squishies. Furthermore, by building Trailblazer and Eclipse, we can support this pseudo top lane playstyle at a cheap price. Trailblazer acts as a discount stride breaker, speeding you up while slowing down the enemy, giving you that sticking power. While Eclipse is our damage source. By just doing normal Sett things, aka punching people, we can half HP squishies while shielding damage, allowing us to survive longer in the mid to late game teamfights. Now if any of this sounds like a good time to you, then buckle up and let's talk about some runes. PTA is hands down the best. It lets you Unga Bunga on them after 3 punches, which is really easy to achieve on Sett since his whole thing is punching. And to support that playstyle, we're going to take Triumph for skirmishing, Alacrity for attack speed, and Last Stand for increased damage when you lose HP. For the second tree, we're going to take Second Wind and Overgrowth for some sustain and some HP scaling in lane. Now feel free to experiment on the adaptives, but I recommend attack speed, movement speed, or adaptive if you want, and scaling HP. Now, once again, this is not a dead set page, this is what I recommend the most, but you could also try something like a Hail Blades page as well, or a Graphs of the Undying page if you want to go for a more tanky support set, but PTA is still what I recommend the most. Now, for summoner spells, take either Flash and Heal or Ghost Heal, depending on your preference. Flash is good against matchups that have a dash like Ezreal or Tristana so you can quickly flash onto them and catch them with E, but Ghost is better for roaming and for teamfights since it gives you that mobility to run around, punch people, and just in general do more stuff. And that's pretty much it for the mobility spells, but if you're not a fan of Heal, Exhaust is also a pretty good alternative as a support spell. It can help peel your ADC when he gets dived by multiple people, but if you're looking to turn bot lane into a kill lane instead of a support lane, you just take Ignite. It will become a lot more aggressive and you're just going to be aiming to just E, Q, and then ignite the enemy to kill them levels 1 to 3. And as always, experiment and see what you like. As for the item, standard support start with World Atlas and 2 health pots. Turn World Atlas into Bloodsong when you can. The extra damage vulnerability is very useful for killing people. For the first item, rush Winged Moonplate. If you have the money, you can buy boots before completing Trailblazer. Trailblazer will be your first item spike, so get it as soon as you can. This will give you the mobility to engage and roam. For boots, I highly recommend Swifties, but defensives or symbiotes once again are also good choices depending on the situation. Second item, rush Eclipse. This is your final core item and it will give you dueling potential to kill people. As for the third item, I recommend either getting some MR or armor. Honestly, after Eclipse, everything's pretty much flex. I would recommend either Wit's End for MR, Zeke's Convergence for armor, or Knight's Vow for HP and peeling for your ADC. And then for your last item, you can also just pick from this list as well. Build according to the situation. For potions, I recommend Elixir of Iron, but if you want to be a little bit spicy, I guess you could go for Elixir of Wrath. You know, that's an option. As always, experiment and find what you like. Sett support is pretty strong early. If possible, don't leash your jungler and camp the bot lane bushes. If you can get an early trade with your E, there's a real chance you can kill them, especially if you have a strong early game carry. Once you get Q, the strategy is to run at people from bushes and grab them with E. Combine this with W and you can do very effective HP trades. The fact that you don't use mana is an even bigger plus because you can just keep draining the enemy resources while only sacrificing your HP. And this should work well against most vanguards and immobile ADCs. But if the enemy bot lane has a lot of zoning CC, try and bait out their skills or waste their mana. You can also use W to decrease the amount of poke you take with its shield. Just keep repeating this until level 6. Level 6 is a very important power spike for Sett. His ult is an absolute game changer. The ability to use a point and click ult to CC and deal damage while being unstoppable is busted for support, especially if the enemy has a tank. You just get to do extra damage to them based on their bonus HP and to the other people which you slam them into. If you took flash, a useful combo to know is the kidnap combo. Flash behind the enemy carry and ult them towards your tower. It takes some getting used to, but do this right and it's a perfect kill every time. Now if your lane is behind or the enemy is playing non-interactive, roaming is a possibility. You can roam to mid or invade jungle to help your other laners bully the enemy. But whatever tactic you choose, try to snowball your team. It gives the best results for Sett support. In late game, your role in teamfights is to frontline or dive. Most of the time, it's going to be a combination of both. Fight the frontliner, tank for your team, ult Sett enemy frontliner into the carries, and do as much damage as you can before dying. Bodyguard your own carries, win teamfights, and hopefully win the game. Here are the pros and cons and champion matchups. Sett support was something I've wanted to do for a while but never got to doing it for some reason. But thanks to you guys, I finally got around to making it as a video. Sett support has been a blast to do and I hope you have a blast playing it too. But what do you think? Are you an OG Sett support main? How was your build? What are your favorite ADC pairings with Sett? Did you enjoy watching? And did you subscribe? Do you have your own suggestions for this series? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Your idea could end up in the next community poll. And that's all for today folks. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. Over 90% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel, so consider doing so if you're interested. I'll catch you guys later. Rock Tofu, signing off.